Welcome to the Outside of Sunday podcast. This episode is the first book review for the podcast, and our first book is The Pilgrims Progress. Alright everyone, welcome back to the podcast. It's been so long, and I don't know about you, but I've really missed the podcast, and for such a long time it feels. I've been trying to get back to recording, and just life has just been so busy. If you were listening where we left off last year, we were selling our house. Guess what? We didn't sell our house. We're still here. But the Lord has just been so good to us through that all. We had a purchaser. They pulled out at the last minute. So the house we had actually purchased under contract. And so that house that we thought was like our dream house went away. So that wasn't happening anymore. So there's been a lot of adjustment and just like, what's going on? Should we keep trying to sell our house? And obviously Christmas and New Year and school starting back, all of the stuff has been happening. But through it all, I just feel like such peace that I feel like we're in the will of God, because that's something that I prayed, and that's something that probably you pray as well. Like, Lord, if this is your will, please open the doors. If it's not your will, please close the doors in this situation or this circumstance. And in this situation and circumstance, the doors were closed. And so sometimes the doors do close and we have to adjust. And I've been, just so blessed and just felt so safe and just at peace in being in the will of God, which is more important to me than the reasons why we were wanting to sell our house in the first place. So here we are. Same kind of spot. I don't know if I've set it up exactly the same, but same recording place, same room, and we're kicking it off for 2023 for the Outside of Sunday podcast with a book review. And this is something I've never done before, but something that I really wanted to do because I do like to read. And if you're a mum like me, it's very hard to read when you have small children. And so it's a priority that I want to have in my life. I mean, basically, for the last couple of years, all I've been able to read is the Bible and sometimes the odd book to support that. But this year, I'm just trying to do more reading in addition to my daily Bible reading. So that's just something I'm doing. And if you're wanting to join along with me, it's always good to read a good book to support our faith. Anyway, this is one of those great books. So let's get started with the review. The Pilgrims Progress, if you've never heard of it before, which I actually hadn't heard of it before until recently, it's actually a classic Christian allegory. It's not only a classic Christian allegory, but I would say it is the classic Christian allegory. So an allegory is a story, poem, or a picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning. So that's what this book is. It's a story, but there's also a deeper meaning throughout the whole book. So The Pilgrims Progress is not only a Christian classic, but it has been described as the ultimate English classic, a book that has been continuously in print, get this, from its first publication in 1678, which is insane in a great way. And despite the wide gap in time, almost 350 years, from the author to the modern 2023 reader, it remains relevant. Not only relevant, but helpful, inspiring, challenging, and encouraging. The Guardian newspaper, which is a non-Christian newspaper, made it number 1 in their top 100 best novels, of all time. And this is what they said in their paper: there is no book in English, apart from the Bible, to equal Bunyan's masterpiece for the range of its readership or its influence on writers as diverse as William Thackeray, Charlotte Bronte, Mark Twain, C.S. Lewis, John Steinbeck, and even Enid Blyton. That was The Guardian. Now, if you're looking for a feel-good Christian book telling you how wonderful you are and how pleasant the Christian life is, or how to prosper financially as a Christian in the world, this is not the book you are looking for. But I really hope that it's the book you find, because The Pilgrim's Progress cuts to the heart of Christianity, and if you let it, it will shape your Christian walk for the better. The book begins with the story of a man whose name is Christian, and it's Christian's journey or pilgrimage that we follow, from an unforgiven, despairing, distraction-bound man of the world to a man of faith, full of hope, on his way to the celestial city. It's an honest depiction of the deep trials that he faces, the mistakes that he makes, and the victories that he wins with the help of the King along the way. And if we also bear that name of Christian. It's a story of our own faith journey. So the book has two parts. The first part focuses on Christian's journey in pilgrimage. The second part of the story focuses on Christiana, Christian's wife. So that's Christian's wife. So it focuses on her and also their sons. I think it was 4 sons that they had. And the second part that features Christiana was actually not originally part of the book. It was published 6 years after the first. So Pilgrims Progress came out, and then 6 years later, part 2 came out with Christiana. And initially they kept being published separately. So you could buy Pilgrims Progress, or you could buy, the part 1, or you could buy the part 2. So initially that's how it was done. But then the 2 parts were brought together to form one book with 2 parts. And I think the fact that the author even decided to write a second journey highlighting the experience of a female pilgrim is actually pretty special. I mean, he could have left the Pilgrim's Progress part 1 and just left it at that, and that would have blessed women and blessed children. It just seems like it was just like this added bonus that he decided to do this second part for us. So I think it's really special. So if you decide to read the Pilgrim's Progress for yourself, just be prepared. Some of the content will rub against your flesh nature, as it did for me. But I hope that you'll find, just as I did, that there is overwhelming biblical support for the themes that are present in this allegory. On the bottom of nearly every page, you will find references pointing you to Bible verses that support the conversations and events taking place. So if I have a problem with this book, it's one that I might not flippantly disregard, but actually one that you'd want to look into prayerfully and with a deeper biblical study and revelation. Now, in terms of readability, it's not a book that you can just whiz through, and I wouldn't want you to. Now, I'm not a scholar or someone who's extremely well read, but I do love to read, and I had to take my time, really concentrate on what I was reading, or I would get lost. As one review online that I found said, the allegorical level has something of the quality of a riddle in the sense that we need to figure out what various details stand for. And it does. It feels like a riddle, or it feels like a puzzle that you are reading your way through. So you can't be hasty. There's a certain amount of discipline required, but it's absolutely worth sticking at. Taking it in, reflecting, praying, and processing the lessons that are being given through this book. Personally, I plan to read the Pilgrim's Progress again next summer, but to take it even slower and spend more time studying the scripture references as I go. I will probably find more pieces of the puzzle that I just completely missed the first time I was reading it. So if you can't tell already, this book has impacted me. I read so much of it through tears in my eyes. The undeserved hope and love of Christ is so beautifully on display. The valleys and the hardships that Christian has faced, I've experienced them too. The failing of Christian for a time as he wanders off the right path, it's all so real and so close to my own faith journey. This book has truly blessed me. It has also helped me to frame my Christian walk in a way that I never could before. The lows and highs of my own pilgrimage, many of them still to come, I see clearer. The times of trial when I was in Doubting Castle, or being distracted in Vanity Fair, or experiencing the pain of being in the valley of the shadow of death. I look back on my life and I can see them now. I can see also the times of refreshing in my life when I was being ministered to by the interpreter, or resting on the Delectable Mountains. I see them. This book has helped me to see the span of my own Christian walk, with yet more trials to come, and how it is all worth it all to stand fast because I serve a good King. His path is right and true, and one day complete joy and perfect peace will come. God will wipe away every tear, and I'll stand before my Creator. Reflecting on his book, John Bunyan said this: I seek a place that can never be destroyed, one that is pure, that fadeth not away, and it is laid up in heaven, and safe there, to be given at the time appointed, to them that seek it with all of their heart. Read it so, if you will, in my book. If you are a Christian, or even if you're far from God, take this as the first official outside of Sunday book recommendation, the Pilgrims Progress. Read it, receive it, and be blessed by it. So we're just doing a short episode today. I'm just finding I'm just having less and less time as my kids get older. We have more commitments outside of the home and just having to work part-time now. I just have less time to do kind of study. So these, I think I'm going to start doing, just like 10, 20-minute episodes, which will hopefully help me to be able to do this more regularly. But before I sign off on this book review, I just wanted to do a short one on this book here, which is Little Pilgrims Progress, which is a kids kind of version of the Pilgrims Progress. And I spent the summer reading this to my kids almost every night. We would go through a chapter, and it's just a really awesome book. The kids loved it. It's written in a way that they can understand it, but it hasn't lost any of its, maybe power is the word I'm looking for. I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, but it's still the Pilgrim's Progress. It's just a little bit more palatable for the little kids to understand it better. And so we only just finished reading this the other night, me and my 8-year-old and 6-year-old. Our 3-year-old's a bit too young for that at the moment, for the attention anyway. And they really loved it. And they would be saying every night, can we read Pilgrim's Progress? Can we read Pilgrim's Progress? And so we'd say, yes, we'll read like 3 chapters or whatever. And it takes a while to get through it, but they remembered it and they were looking forward to reading it. And when I spoke to them on the drive to school the other day, I asked them, I said, what did you learn? Or what do you think the Pilgrim's Progress book that we read was about? Or what was something good from that? And my 8-year-old said, it's about how we shouldn't ever give up. And I was like, that's so good. Because that's one of the great themes of the Pilgrim's Progress is that, hardships come, trials come, but we don't give up. And then his younger sister, who's 6, she said, it's about the king. So it's really good. And I think we'll read this to the kids again over summer next year. And it would just be one of those regular books that we read all the time in our family. And then when my 3-year-old's a bit older, she can read it with us too. But if you have kids, if you're a Christian mom who really wants to help your kids to grow in their faith and to also have a deeper level of Christian faith, not just like a surface level, Jesus loves me, but to understand that it's a serious thing to be a Christian and it's not always going to be easy. This is a really great book for them. I recommend getting it for your kids. Christmas present, an Easter present, Easter's coming up, or anything like that. But that's my short review on the Little Pilgrim's Progress, just to supplement the other one that we just did there. All right, thanks for listening. That's the end of our podcast today. I hope it blessed you. I hope you're going to find yourself a copy of the Pilgrim's Progress. It's definitely worth it. Check it out, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.